Sergeant.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, my name is Sergeant Borkowski from Winnebago Correctional Center. I'm calling for Mr. Jason Kraus.
Thank you.
I have him.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you need him on the phone?
Yes.
All right, hold on 1 second. Hello, this is Jason.
Okay, Jason, just hold just a moment and the board will call you when they're ready. They're about to start the meeting. Okay,
All
Heidi,
right.
you can start the
Sounds
meeting.
good.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the Green Bay Sex Offender Residency Board to meet. Rachel, do we need to do roll call?
I've got, I'll document all the board members that are, or committee members that are present.
Okay. If I could get a motion to approve the agenda for the June 22nd meeting.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Awesome.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. If I can get an approval from the minutes from the May 18th meeting.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, the first order of business is the appeal of Jason Kraus requesting to move to 408 Newhouse Street. Jason, you're on the call?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna ask you some questions. At any time, we do not want you to name your victim or your relationship to the victim. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And we will be wanting to talk about treatment. And at that point, you have the option to go into closed or public session. Do you know what you would like to do?
I'm not sure, actually.
So closed session would mean everybody that's currently on the Zoom call would need to leave the call, and it would just be us, the board members, and you. Open session would be everybody would be able to hear about your treatment.
All right, open is fine.
Okay, all right, so right now it looks like you're currently at WRC, is that correct?
It's actually WCC, Winnebago Correctional Center.
Okay, all right, and you're requesting to move to 408 Newhouse Street, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, if you could go ahead then and tell us what you were convicted, how it came about.
All right, I was convicted of possession of child pornography. The conviction happened in July 17th of 2019. Was initially arrested in 2018. I can't remember the exact date of it, but it was for pictures, and pictures were of naked children, girls, around, I don't know the exact age, around between ages 10 and 15, I guess.
And
Yeah,
how did you end up, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I found them. It was sent from a website. I believe it was 8chan. It's a forum, and someone was posting some pictures. I downloaded some. I went to some links for them. I downloaded images. That's how I came across them.
Okay. And then how did the police get involved?
They showed up at my parents' house where I was living, for Newhouse Street. They showed up at the search warrant for the electronics in the house. They said, I believe they said it was the IT provider or something notified them that the images were downloaded.
And how long were you doing this for?
At the time, it was, I don't remember exactly, it was few months, I believe. But about 3 or 4 months, I believe, if I remember right, from the first time I downloaded the images and the time I got arrested.
And how many images did you have downloaded?
I don't remember exactly. I think the total amount was around 50. So I think it was 10 separate downloads. So it was 10 counts total that I was charged with.
And you received 3 years initial confinement and 3 years extended supervision, is that correct?
That's correct.
Scheduled to get released in July?
Yes, the 12th of July.
Okay. And will you be on any kind of monitoring?
Ankle bracelet.
Right, Captain Riggles, is that version pretty accurate as to what he stated?
There was certainly one video. I was just looking at the description of it. There were a number of photographs. I was looking in the complaint for what it's worth. If the board wants to know if there was more than 10, typically that's what the district attorney will charge, whether there's 11 of them or 1,000. I usually pick 10 that are indisputable. But it was 10 counts, as said, one video of the same nature. But other than that, yes, accurate.
Okay, thank you. All right. Jason, why and how did you get involved in this?
Why? I'm not sure. It happened at night. It was when I was tired and bored, and I just wasn't thinking clearly at the time.
How old were you?
Them, like, I was 25.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for him?
Yeah, Jason, were you able to get any treatment while you were in prison?
Not while in prison, no. When I was at Dodge for assessment, for the psych evaluation, the PS2, I believe it's called over there. Sorry, I can't remember the exact name, but when they talked to me about that, they determined that treatment wasn't necessary for me, wasn't recommended.
Is your probation officer going to be recommending any treatment?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And so you're going to, you want to reside with your parents?
That's correct.
Correct, okay. All right. And let's see.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
All right.
Jason, I noticed out of the 10 charges, 8 of them were dismissed. Do you know why?
I took a plea deal.
Okay.
I took a plea deal, and district attorney, I believe, agreed to drop 8 of those charges.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
And Jason, are your parents okay with the fact that you're not allowed to have any electronics in, your possession? Are they gonna comply with that?
I'm sure they have no problems with that.
Do you know, are they here to speak on your behalf?
I believe my dad is gonna speak after me.
Is he on the call?
Not currently, no. Or,
Yes, Heidi, he's on there, this is
Yes.
Deanna.
Oh, okay, he is on, okay, all right. And, let's see here. Okay. Well, nobody has any other further questions?
I do. Jason, do you plan to work when you get out?
yes, down the street from that address I want to move in my parents' place. Yeah, right down the street, there's TNT Crest, or I believe it's just a factory. They're always hiring, so it shouldn't be a problem to get the job there.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, if there's no further questions, I guess I'd like to talk to his dad.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Kraus, you understand the stipulations, of your son coming to live with you?
Heidi, before we get into the
Oh.
commentary, could we get a name and address for the
Yes.
speaker?
I apologize. Mr. Kraus, we need your full name and address for the record, please.
Okay, Danny Kraus, 408 Newhall Street, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54302.
Okay. And are you aware of all the stipulations, too?
Yes, we have to have all electronics that he can't have access to.
Okay. Are there gonna be any children living in the home?
No,
Okay. And, how do you feel that this incident occurred in your home and now you're going to come and allow him to live back with you?
well, I feel confident that Jason definitely learned his lesson with this incident and definitely knows enough to never do anything like that again. I'm very confident of that. So I feel comfortable that he's gonna stay on the right track now.
Do you plan on, issuing him any kind of rules?
Well, I'm sure, yeah, we'll have to go over that with him once he gets home, but yeah. But I think he's gonna be under quite a few different rules with probation also.
Right. But you and his mother, what kind of rules have you thought about, laying down the law for him?
Well, we haven't really gone over it much yet, but yeah, once he gets home, we'll have to go over it with him, what kind of time frames that we want him home by, and just have, yeah, just try to help him stay on the straight and narrow. His mom's home all the time, she doesn't work, so, but, yeah, otherwise we really haven't gone over anything with him.
Okay. Does any of the board members have any questions for Mr. Kraus?
I do not.
No.
Okay. Does the board have any discussion they'd like to talk about?
I do not.
Heidi, were there any other speakers that wanted to speak on
Oh,
his behalf?
Jason, do you have anybody else wanting to speak?
No, I don't.
Okay. Mr. Kraus, Denny Kraus, I see you've got quite a few people in the background there. None of
Yeah.
them want to speak?
Well, his mother actually is limited English, so
Okay.
you can think you wanna, at least, not really. You just kinda say how you're 6 years younger than him and have people over all the time and have problems with.
Yeah, never really had any issues in the past.
Okay, so does the young lady want to speak? so we just need your name, for the record, please, and your address.
Alicia Kraus, I live at 408 New Hall Street.
Okay. All right, what would you like to say?
I'm his little sister. I'm 6 years younger than him. So this kind of all came as a surprise. We never really had these issues ever show up before. So I talked to our parents about him coming home as well. We all agreed with it. We're okay. Kind of talked about rules a little bit, but not much. We know about what he has to do, what he can't do, you know. But I'm kind of the same boat with them when it comes to my older brother and him coming home.
Okay. Have any of you gone to see him while he's been incarcerated?
Yes, all three of us have gone, well, we were going 3 times a week until COVID kicked in, and then we were resuming weekly. And we've been back to going each week now that they opened up the in-person visits again.
Have you noticed any kind of change in him since when he first went in to today?
Seems like he's matured a little bit, thinks things through a little bit more, it seems like, before he does or says things.
Okay. All right. Anyone have questions for Alicia?
I do not.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so, is there anyone that, wants to, I mean, nobody said they wanted to talk about it, does anyone wanna make a motion? I'm gonna just kinda say how I feel right now. I understand that he wasn't ordered any kind of treatment, but it does say that, you know, he needs to comply with any kind of, recommendations from his agent. It does look like he has to have a chaperone, is that correct, Mr. Kraus? Jason? Jason, are you gonna be required to have a chaperone when you're out and about in the community?
I'm actually not sure. I didn't see that in my extent supervision rules. But I do have a curfew though.
Okay. Yeah, according to your judgment of conviction, it says no contact with anyone under the age of 18 unless prior approval given by agent, and you're to comply with any chaperone agreement recommendations. So I wasn't sure if they discussed that with you at this point yet. Do you have an agent assigned to you?
Yes, I believe I do, but I can't remember what her name is off the top of my head. I don't have the paperwork, but.
It says Tracy Heaney here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry, thank you, Craig.
yeah.
Okay. So typically, I'm a little bit leery approving anybody when they haven't gone through any kind of treatment. You know, your response to why you did it was, you know, you weren't really sure why, you were just kind of tired and bored. That happens to all of us throughout our life. And, you know, we have to look at other avenues. And I think typically with treatment, that allows you to find other resources. So that's kind of where I stand right now, as to approving you for, or not approving you to reside at 408 Newhall. But if the board members have anything further to say or wish to make a motion, we can go from there.
Move to approve, address specific.
Is there a second?
I have another question for Jason.
All right.
I noticed under community ties and support, do you have any other support other than work? Are you gonna, do you have any church you're with or other groups that you're gonna be in?
Not specific groups or anything, no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We have a motion from Craig, to approve address specific. Is there a second for that?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed. I'm sorry, Faye, what was your vote?
Mine was opposed.
Okay, so right now we have a 2-2 vote. If Craig or Pete would like to say why they are okay with him residing at 408 New Hall.
I'll speak it. He's a 28-year-old man. He's obviously got excellent family support. He has a plan of what he's gonna do with his time to go get a job and be a productive member of our society. A lot of times, these guys, don't get treatment, while they're in prison for other reasons than what he's, said. And I do hope that, his PO, orders some form of treatment, and I'm sure she will. That's kind of my reasoning.
And if I could say something,
Sure.
and Jason was in treatment before he was actually incarcerated, he was in treatment for, I think it was 9 or 10 months.
What kind of treatment?
He was going to see a psychologist.
Okay. And what was that for?
It was just to kind of deal with what was going on in his life and trying to straighten things out and stay on the straight path. I
Okay.
don't remember exactly where it was. It was downtown though. James Drake
Jason?
was his name.
Oh,
Dr. James Drake.
oh, so Jason, you did see, Dr. Drake, Jim Drake at Family Services?
Yes, before I was incarcerated, yeah.
And was that court ordered or did you go there on your own?
I went there on my own.
And did you graduate that class?
It wasn't a class, it was just, psychology sessions with him.
And it was specifically referencing your, charges?
Yeah, so about my charges, yes.
So can you tell us what you learned from my class or from that treatment?
Yes, it was basically to help me understand why what I did was that, because when I initially downloaded the images, I didn't really understand any of the ramifications or anything. I didn't, because at the time they were just images, but the psychologist helped me understand what actually happens, what goes on in those situations, how whenever someone does view those images, that's not a victimless crime, basically, that it does affect them directly, even though it's something that happened a long time ago. When someone views those images, they get notified, and that just brings back all those memories for them and just hurts them even more, just makes it worse. We were basically talking about that, just understanding what I did and why it was horrible.
Okay. I didn't see any documentation in your packet that you sent in regarding that treatment. Did you include that?
I don't think so, no. I didn't have it on me with me or anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Faye, do you want to discuss why you don't want to approve?
I'm worried about the treatment part also. And I guess I would be comfortable with making a, like, let's say 60 days, and then see if we can get that documentation, or that his probation officer starts him in a treatment class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you, oh, go ahead, Mr. Denny Kraus.
I was actually, Jason had sent me the paperwork and I actually sent it in for him. I would have included that paperwork from James Drake, and he'd actually also seen one other counselor also with a report, but I didn't even think to put that in there with the paperwork, because I just forwarded what
Okay,
you didn't actually have access to it. I have that.
okay. Faye, would you want to make a new motion?
Yes, I would. I would recommend that we approve for, it could even be, okay, let's approve. It sounds like he even has the documentation, and let's see, well, 60 days. I'm gonna say make a recommendation, approve for 60 days, and then we wanna see the documentation, and we want to know, whether his probation officer recommended treatment.
I'll second.
Is that motion to approve address specific?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, Jason, we've approved you to reside at 408 New Hall for 60 days. You must come back to our August meeting and provide that documentation that you saw Dr. Drake and any other treatment that you had, and if your agent is recommending any other treatment.
Okay,
All right?
that
Would
sounds
you
good.
like us to mail that to the New Hall address, or would you like us to mail that to the prison?
This is New Hall address, please.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no
Good luck.
problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next on the agenda is going to be, let me get there. Jason. The appeal of Ryan Cloud. Mr. Cloud, I see you're on the phone.
Yep. All right,
Okay.
sorry.
Oh. Jason, we're done with you. You can exit if you want.
Okay, okay.
All
All
right,
right,
thank you.
thank you.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, so, we're going to ask you about what you were convicted of. And when you talk about your crime, we don't want you to name the victim by name or by the relationship. And then, eventually you'll need to tell us how the police got involved in the situation. And then if you heard me, tell the previous candidate, you have the option when we talk about your treatment to go into private session or remain in public session. What would you like to do?
I'll do public.
Okay, so, all right, it looks like right now, am I correct, you're currently at Kettle Marine, or are you released?
I'm released.
Okay, and did you get released yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and where are you staying right now?
I'm at a TLP on the west side, the attic place.
Okay, on Shawano?
Yep.
Okay, all right, so if you could go ahead and, and you're requesting to move to 2041 Manitowoc Road, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and who lives there? Is it just gonna be you?
No, it'll be my stepfather and my two sisters. Charles Kamenecki and Rachel, and she's transitioning to a boy, so it's Jasper Kamenecki, but her real name is Jessica Kamenecki.
Okay, and how old are your sisters?
18 and 20.
Okay. All right, so if you could go ahead and tell us, what you were convicted of and, the circumstances surrounding that?
On December of 2017, I was convicted of a second-degree sexual assault. It was for a touching case. So what happened was I drank and I came home knocked out, and according to the report from the victim, I fondled her while she was sleeping, her breasts and her butt. And then the police got involved after, because I woke up when she woke up and she went to go use the bathroom, and I woke up not understanding where I was, got up and left and went by my girlfriend. And as I was gone, I got contacted that the victim contacted her parents, and then her parents contacted the police.
And you were how old?
I was 27.
And she was 15?
Yes.
All right. And did you know the victim?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you have any contact with the victim?
No.
All right. Captain Riggles, is his story accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. All right. So Ryan, you were sentenced to, 4 years confinement and then 6 years extended supervision?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Does the board have any questions regarding his offense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then we would like to talk about treatment. It looks like you maybe must have taken some classes for anger management, domestic violence while you were incarcerated?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and why those type of classes?
I had problems at a younger age with my baby mama, where we ended up getting in a fight and I had a domestic issue. So I still had to do treatment for it. It was recommended by Amy.
Is that your probation officer? Or who was
That'd
Amy?
be staffing from Dodge.
Okay. When did the domestic situations happen? Because you didn't list that on your criminal history.
It was a misdemeanor. It turned into a misdemeanor battery, and it happened in 2008.
All right. And you didn't receive any kind of sex offender treatment while you were in the institution?
No, but I have contacted my PO, and we have it already set up to start as soon as Thursday. I finished the paperwork for it.
And do you know where you're going to be going?
What is it called? I think something. I'm not sure, but it's through my PO. He's got it figured out.
Okay.
We just went over it yesterday.
All right. While you indicated that when this offense happened, that you were drinking and that you had blacked out. Do you have an issue with alcohol or drugs?
Yeah, I have a problem with drinking, and a lot of it stemmed around my mom drinking, which is a good thing because my mom will not be living at the residence that I'm at.
All right. Have you received any kind of treatment for your drinking?
I did AA and NA, but while I was doing domestic violence, they offered me AODA, so it was do one or the other. And I was already in domestic violence.
Okay. All right. Do you think you'll, continue to take any classes while you, for AA when you get out?
Well, I am out, and I've been looking around who, my PO suggested a few places, and until I start my treatment for AODA, which will also be within the next couple months, I will be starting that also.
Okay. Looks like you also completed Thinking for Change while you were in custody, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. Board, do you have any questions?
I do not.
I've also completed, I got something to say too real quick.
Yeah.
I also completed a vocational for college who was incarcerated.
Yeah,
For
was that
masonry.
for masonry? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that kind
And
of
also-
job?
Yeah, it's, it was a vocational, so it was choose between cabinetry and masonry, and I figured masonry would be beneficiary because I like that type of work, so that's why I chose it.
And are you looking for that type of work now that you're out? I mean, I know you've only been out one day.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't have no experience, and a lot of those places need experience, so right now I'm just looking for temp agencies to put me through to a job, which hopefully by next week I should be working.
Okay. All right.
And I also did, it's called Windows to Work program. So they will also help me. I got a coach, and it's kind of like a T4C thing, pre-release, and they help out with like classes, paying for the classes that I need to get in, helping me with food and, you know, anything that has to do with clothes or hygiene. And so I got to report to them every month also. So it's kind of like a sponsor, or I would say something to help guide me.
Okay, good, good. All right. I see that you have, I probably want to speak on your behalf, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I believe, is it Tara?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Tara, can you unmute yourself? There we go. Tara, if you could please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Tara Trepanier, and I'm at 1435 Emily Street, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54301.
Okay, and what would you like to say about Ryan?
I want to speak on his behalf because I want to let you guys know that I really, truly, honestly believe that he has changed and that he is going to get help and that he's going to be a different person this time than the last time, and that he has so much time to think about it. And before, a lot of our family members weren't in positive positions, and and I'm in a very positive position now to help him out. I've been working at a job for 8 years where he has no problem getting in there. I've already talked to my supervisor in the HR, and he is more than welcome to start at any day as soon as possible. There's a lot more places hiring for a lot more money than what my company pays for. So as the well-being right now, he is able to come work there. My husband drives. I don't drive no more due to a car accident. So he will have transportation to work every single day and home and to treatment and guidance and anything that he needs. I'm going to be here. Last time I was not in a position myself to have positive, reinforcement towards him. So, but I have overcome that in the last 4 years and know that it's very important for me to take care of my family and make sure that my brother is in the right position. So I promise that I'm going to try and make sure he is good and let him know that it's easier being a better person than a wrong person in life. And I want to teach him that. And I want him to feel how good it feels to be positive and live a good life. I want him to experience that.
Okay. You made a comment that you think that he's changed, compared to the last time? What did you mean by that?
I know he has changed from the last time.
So,
I
like,
can hear it in his voice, the things that he tells me.
okay, like, what, he was incarcerated previously to this, prior to this incident happening?
Yes, yes, he was.
Okay, and was that in prison?
Yes.
Okay, and how much time was that, do you know, that he served for that offense?
I have no clue because like I said before, I wasn't in a really positive position myself, so I really didn't pay attention to how much time and the place that he was at.
Okay, and where is it that you work that he could maybe get a job at?
I currently work at WPI, Wisconsin Plastics Incorporated in Asheville.
Okay. Okay,
And I've
all right.
worked there for 8 years now, so
Okay. Does the board have any questions for Tara?
I do not.
Okay. Is there anyone else with you, Tara, that wants to speak on, your brother's behalf?
yes, this is my brother, my sister, Jessica Kamenicki. She will be one of the siblings living with him at 23.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, what was can you state your name and address for the record?
My name is Jessica Kamenicki, and I live at 2041 Manitowoc Road.
Okay, and this is, Ryan is your stepbrother?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, what would you like to say?
I feel like he's gonna do better this time because we're a lot stricter on the rules in the house since, well, my sister just turned 20 and I just turned 18 this past year, so my dad's kind of been a little harsher on the rules, and he's doing that with, like, just me and my sister because he didn't trust us being out because we come home late, so now he has a curfew for us, and he says that applies to my brother as well.
Okay. And, did you see your brother at all while he was in prison?
No.
We don't. She doesn't have her driver's license, and I don't drive, and so
yeah.
And we have
Okay.
kind of a little family here in Green Bay. There's only 5 of us, including my brother, so we can get there.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Pete.
I noticed here back in 2007 is court ordered to get your GED or HSED. Did you ever complete those?
Yes, I did. I got my HSCD.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep.
All right. You, Tara, that wants to speak?
No, my other sibling is currently sick.
Okay.
She is here. She is here for support for him, but her voice, she's got a really sore throat. But
Okay.
she's here to support him also.
All right. Is the board have any discussion they would like to talk about before we ask for a motion?
Just would want to encourage Ryan to make sure that you address that alcohol issue. I think that was probably your biggest problem there. And if you don't address it, it might resurface. So I really encourage you to go to AA and go to treatment and learn what you need to learn. So
I definitely will.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
move to approve address specific.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, Ryan, you are approved to reside at 2041 Manitowoc Road. If you decide to move from that location, you will need to come back before the board.
All right.
All right? You have a
Thank you
good
so
support
much.
system. You
Thank
bet.
you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is the appeal of John Collins. Mr. Collins, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you are currently residing at 1620 Forest Glen, and you want to continue to reside there.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. So I have a note here that says you've been temporarily housed at that location, which is ran by Genuine Hearts, and now you want to stay there permanently.
Yeah.
How did you get to live there temporarily? What's temporarily?
I was in a TLP, and due to the fact that I haven't went in front of the board till now, that's considered temporary.
How long have you been residing there?
30 days. 30 days.
Okay. All right, so you've never been before us, correct?
Nope.
Okay, so again, I'm gonna ask you to tell us about what you were convicted of and how it came to light. And when you talk about it, we don't want you to name, list any names of the victim or your relationship to the victim.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and tell me what happened.
I have a second-degree sexual assault of a minor for inappropriate touching and fingering. I was just recently kicked out of my father's house, and I was in a very crappy state at the time. I did not know the age of consent, and I am now, I have the, I'm going through the process of starting SOT treatment. I just signed the release forms today with my agent.
I'm sorry, did you say you're signed up?
She had me sign the release of information forms for SOT treatment.
Okay. All right. So it looks like you were convicted out of Outagamie County, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so I'm gathering you got released from prison sometime in 2019?
When I was sentenced, I did a year in county with 15 years probation sentence withheld. And then I had a revocation for my previous charge that was not a sex case. It was just a breaking and entering. I was revocated. I did 3 in, 3 out with the years of custody credit. So when I got out, I went to a TLP, and I reside here.
So when did you actually get out of prison?
I got out of prison January 4th of this year.
And so you've been at the TLP since January 4th?
Yep. In Outagamie County.
Oh, in Outagamie County.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's through Attic Correctional Services.
Yep. Okay. And why is it that you want to go to this address here?
I have a very good. I'm in a. That's one of the group homes that I was approved to go for, because there are very few group homes that are approved to have sex offender residents.
Before we talk any further, when we talk about your treatment, do you want to do that in private session?
My SOT treatment.
Yeah, all of that kind of treatment.
I prefer to do it in private, but if there's only an opening for public, then I'll do it that way. I want to, my preference is private, but if there ain't an opening for that, I will do public treatment. I know I need to get this treatment done with. It's
Okay, let's just stop there. You have the option, so we'll go, I need somebody from the board to make a motion to go into private session.
Move to go into private session.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
just give me a moment so I can
John.
put people in.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
You know when everyone's back in.
okay, thank you.
Everyone's back in.
All right. Go ahead, Pete, you can ask the question you were going to ask him.
Yes, it was saying that, you're to obtain your GED or HSED. Have you done that yet?
when I got out of prison, I had enrolled and I was in for my HSCD through the Fox Valley Technical College. Due to the fact that I moved up here, I am waiting on further permanent placement before I finish. I am currently lively enrolled. All I need is that I'm right here, and I will get everything from the Technical College transferred up here, and I will finish my HSED up here.
Okay. Also, I noticed under community ties and support, you don't have anything listed as far as family, work, church, or friends.
I have a couple friends that are keeping me on the right track. My family mostly is basically, ever since my parents divorced, the whole family basically fell apart. So there really is no support from the family side. I do have every staff at the group home here. I have a couple friends that keep me in a straight and narrow.
Do you have any plans at joining any churches or anything?
I'd have to look in to see which churches. I'm not actively religious, but I might go to a couple churches. I did when I was with my one friend. I went to his church a couple times.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to go back to your charges. How this occurred?
I was 19.
And do you know how old the victim was?
13.
13. Okay. Captain Riggles, I don't know if you have access to the Outagamie case or not.
I'm sorry, no, I was not able to obtain that, just see what was on CCAP, that's all I could see.
Okay, all right, thank you. Does the board have any further questions for John?
None.
Okay, it appears that Monica wants to speak on your behalf, is that correct?
Yes.
And is Monica there?
Yes, she is.
Okay, Monica, if you could please just state your name and address for the record.
Yep, Monica Turbiadis, and do you want my personal address? Because I'm mistaken.
If you want to give your business address, that will be fine.
Our business address is 1566 West Mason Street, Green Bay 54303.
Okay, and what can you tell us about John?
So John is very new with us. He's only been with us for 30 days. In the short amount of time we have gotten to know John, he is a go-getter, always willing to help out, loves chatting, has been getting along well with everyone in the house, very compliant with all medications, very compliant with his PO. We kind of explained to him, different steps that you have to do in order to get certain things approved, like outings and all that. So we're here to help him out. We're here to guide him through this process. And I really feel like he has a good support team that has his back, that will help him out as much as we can help him out.
And is he accurate when he says the facility is 24/7 staffed?
Yes, we do have staff around the clock, 24/7. There is a manager on call after business hours, so if an issue arises, all of us managers live within 10 minutes of all of our group homes, and we do come. So he's never without a staff member, and that's just for everybody's safety, even our other residents, and not because of him, but just that's the kind of business that we run.
Okay.
In the community, 90% of the time he will have staff. I believe he's been approved to do small solo outings on his own, taking little baby steps to build up to that. But big outings like going to Walmart, things like that, he will have the staffing to go with him.
Your staff will go with him?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And as far as his treatment, they are looking into it. And he was very accurate to say, like, even with counseling and all that, a lot of it was depending on until he got a stable home to start all those treatments back up again and to get all his care transferred over to Green Bay. His SOT, they were unsure. So he's very accurate when he says that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Does the board have any questions for her?
None.
Okay. Do we have any discussion before a motion is made?
Well, I just think, this man is in the best situation possible for him. He's receiving, medication care, he's about to receive SOT treatment. He's in a good facility with 24/7 care, and I think we should approve him.
Okay. I kind of agree with you, Craig. I typically don't approve, out of county residents because I feel Brown County has enough of their own residents that we need to try to find housing for. But I do agree with you with the 24/7 staffing. That does make me feel more comfortable. All right, does anyone want to make a motion?
Move to approve address specific.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Mr. Collins, you're approved to continue to reside at 1620 Forest Glen. If you do decide to move from there, you will need to come back before the board.
Okay.
All right, thank you, good luck.
Good luck, John.
Have a nice day.
You too. All right, our next appeal is Michelle Schultz. I think we just lost, oh no, I see her. All right, Michelle, can you unmute your phone?
Okay, how's that?
All right. Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Okay, so right now, Michelle, it looks like you are homeless.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct?
Yep.
And you're really requesting just to move anywhere in the city that will approve you, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, Rachel, really never heard of this before, and.
I came to see your board a couple times, like 3 or 4 different times. I've
Yeah.
always been approved where I was living. I've always raised my kids. I'm raising a grandson right now. I can't be homeless. I'm sick. I need to use my oxygen daily. I can't plug it in daily. You know what I mean? I need this to be able to move anywhere. I've talked it over I discussed it with the city attorney. And she's the one that helped me fill out the application.
Okay, well, Rachel is our city attorney, is that who you met with?
Yes.
No, that's Deanna. I sat down with her to help her fill out the application.
Oh, Deanna.
Yeah, I'm the legal
Okay.
assistant.
The legal, whatever.
All right,
So
so
you're
Michelle,
I'm confused.
Michelle, I understand your situation, but I need to get the advice from our attorney for the city, because typically we have to publish your address of where you're going to reside in case anyone in the community objects to that. So before we even talk any further, I need to get the attorney's opinion on this situation.
Okay, when will that be?
I'm
She's
right
on the
here,
phone.
I'm just,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
trying to give her my input.
Okay.
So it hasn't happened anytime recently, but the board is capable of approving an applicant to pretty much have carte blanche. Basically, it's an approval to live in the city. That's the effect if we don't say address specific when we make our motion. That would just be approving someone to live in the restricted area. So it's possible to approve someone not address specific, but our general policy is to have an address so that we can notify anyone who may want to appear to speak either for or against the applicant. Now, as indicated, there is history with the board with this particular applicant, but it's at the discretion of the board whether this applicant is trusted enough or is a viable candidate for that kind of approval. But it is possible.
Oh, can I tell you some of my background then with all of this? Okay.
Sure, just a minute, Michelle.
Okay.
Before you do all that, I do want to ask the board if any of you have ever, I know some of you may have or have not been present for previous hearings with Michelle. I know I have. So if you would like her to go about and tell you about her, what she was convicted of, how it all came about, we can start with that. Or did the
I read, it was in 1991. I'm not sure that that's what we need to be talking about here. What happens if we don't approve Michelle without address specific?
She could reapply with a specific address.
But I can't get one.
Anytime somebody is denied by the board, they can reapply if circumstances change. So if she's applying and the circumstance that changed is that she has a specific address she's looking at, the board could consider that application as well.
Michelle, is that a problem for you, not having the board approval to find an address? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And then, do you have a terminal illness? I hate that.
No, I don't have I have terminal illness. I have lung disease and hang on, my daughter would be able to explain it more. Can she explain it?
Hold on, before we even talk about any kind of medical information, I think we should see if we should go into private session or if she wishes to remain in public session.
I agree
No,
with
I'd like to go into a private. I don't think it really matters, does it? Does it matter?
There's nobody else here.
Nobody else there.
The recording does get paused when we go into closed session.
Correct. And we do have another individual who's to hear his appeal. So.
Yeah, and let's pause it so I can do it in private.
All right, so we'll need a motion to go into private session.
I'll make a motion to go private.
All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, Michelle, just wait for everyone until
Okay.
Okay, it looks like everybody's back in.
Okay. So as we're back into public session, Michelle, you have been in front of the board on several different occasions, and we have approved you on every occasion.
Yes. Also, if you remember me, I brought a note in and had you guys reseal it from the victim herself.
Yes.
But I don't have that. I don't have that letter no more because it was in storage and to the move I lost it all. So I don't have that currently. But if you remember the letter, you only know what it said. I don't even know what it said. So I mean, I'm not saying. I'm just letting you know that I remember I had that letter. So
yeah, I do remember that, and it was documented in our notes, referenced that letter.
Okay.
Okay, I do have a question for Captain Riggles. Obviously, this is something that's a little bit unheard of or not common for the board to say if we would potentially approve her to live in the city with no address. Does the police department have any concerns with that?
It's kind of a hard question to answer. I mean, obviously we want to do what's going to be easiest or best for one for her to care for herself, but also follow the ordinance put out in front of us. It's probably one of those questions that I bother Rachel with, and an email or a phone call. I mean, we enforce the ordinances as they're written, and you know, it's one of those things where it says where they can or can't live, and we follow that unless approved differently by this body. So I apologize, I don't have a better answer, but.
No, I guess I just want to ask, you know, if, say an officer was called to a disturbance where Michelle was staying, and they know that she is, you know, as a sex offender who has to follow the ordinance, if there was documentation that she could just live where, is that acceptable to the police officers?
Because that's so unique, I couldn't guarantee that a citation wouldn't be issued. Certainly that's something that could be cleared up in court at the city attorney's office. I've never come across that in my time here. Sorry, my blood's keeping out. And they've got to follow the laws as written. I don't know if you're looking at issuing a letter signed by, you know, everyone here, or permission to call Rachel at any time of night to verify this is legitimate. We certainly don't want to put anybody out or cause any extra time on Michelle's part, but, you know, my officers follow the ordinance as is, and we could certainly get that paperwork. If you were going to sign something, then we could attach it to Michelle's file in the police records, and do our very best to make sure that they would research that and find it prior to it. I know this is a long answer, but I'm trying to be helpful. I'm more than happy if I would get something signed by you that had, you know, probably an expiration or good for this time frame, and put it in there. And if Michelle had police contact and was in this situation, depending on the time of day, she could request that they look it up, even though it's an odd situation. There's a chance they could come across that and let it be based on the board's decision, if that's what they decide to do.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. I know that's a difficult question.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Michelle.
I was gonna ask the board if they could give me, if they did approve, if I could have a letter stating that you guys did approve myself, so I could cover my own bases.
Sure. All right.
That way, if I got any running with any police officers or anything, which I won't, I promise. But if I do, then I would have that in hand.
Okay. All right, so before we go in for a vote, does the board have any discussion?
Well, Michelle, if we gave you 60 days to find a place, would that be adequate?
I could try within 60 days. It's really hard to get a place. I'm on limited income. It's really hard to find a place. If I had a letter from you all saying it was okay, I think I would be able to get a place in 60 days.
Okay.
That would give landlord knowledge that I'm doing the right things.
Like I said earlier, I have heard Michelle on many occasions here, and she is right. We have approved her every time she has moved. And I guess I'm not normally one who's a fan of having people come back in so many days, because I think it clogs down our agendas. But in this kind of a situation, I guess I wouldn't mind looking at, like Craig, how you said, maybe 60 days letting her stay out there, but you know, maybe every 60 days, she just has to check in with us to see if she did indeed get an apartment. So we at least have something officially on record. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I agree.
Okay. Rachel, do you think that would be too difficult to do that? I'm watching your facial expressions there.
I think that it should, I mean, it would work, and then that way it's not an open-ended carte blanche forever and always. The one hiccup that I could see doing it that way is if a landlord says, oh, well, you're only approved for 60 days, then what?
Yeah.
So, I mean, from an administrative standpoint, it's not an issue. We could approve for 60 days, not giving an address, and then once an address is found, she could reapply with the address, and then that address could be approved, that application could be approved address specific.
All right. Based on all of that, does the board have anything they'd like to say or make a motion?
I'll make a motion, and Michelle, this is your responsibility to let landlords know when you're applying that you're approved for 60 days, but can be approved as long as you have an address longer than that. Okay, that's gonna be your responsibility.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion, to approve non-address specific for 60 days.
Wait, I got a question for you, and if you guys could write me a letter stating that, with all of that in there?
Yeah. We'll get you something, but first the vote has to go through Michelle.
Okay.
All right. Is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, Michelle, so you are good to stay wherever you want for 60.
Okay.
And then we want to hear back from you in August if you did find a place.
Okay, is there any way that the city attorney, or is it the city attorney? The one I like to
Yes.
see? Is there any way that she could write up that letter that, for me too, that I could have for the potential landlords?
This is Deanna. I can take care of the letter, but I am working from home tomorrow, and then I'm out of the office on Friday, so I could do it on Monday.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, if you had something that needed to be printed off, I'm in the office tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I could work on it tomorrow and just put it in.
Or even if you guys could email it to me?
I could do that. That's fine.
Yeah, my email's on the application, right?
Yes, I have it.
Okay, if you could do that, that would be great too. That way it's in my phone and I won't forget it.
That's fine, Michelle. I'll send it to you in an email.
Okay, do I have to, go back in 60 days? Do I make that appointment the month before or the month of, or how does that work?
As
Because
soon
I
as you
had
have
so
an
much
address.
time.
When you have an address.
When I have the address? Okay, as soon as I get it, I call you guys?
Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you,
All
Michelle.
right, thank you.
Luck, Michelle.
Thank you. God bless y'all.
Yep. All right, next on the agenda is Robert Lancour. Robert, you're present.
No.
Robert?
Can you guys hear me? Well,
Yep, okay, Robert, we can hear you. All right.
okay, I got my Bluetooth earbuds in, so I just wanted to make sure you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Michelle, if you could maybe, either exit or turn your.
I'm trying to exit out.
Oh, there we go. Okay, Robert, so it looks like you're currently living at 130 South Webster Avenue and you want to continue to reside at 130 South Webster Avenue, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and how did you get about living there?
So, I've never lived in Green Bay before. My offense originally occurred in Allegheny County. The closest I've gotten to living actually in it was De Pere, and that was quite a few years ago. And they didn't have an ordinance or like a border or anything like that. I just had to register at the local police department. And I've actually been out of state for the past 5 over in the West Coast.
And I just now moved back to live with my brother. This is my brother's house. And when I moved here is when I first heard about the ordinance, because I went to the Green Bay Police Department to register like I always do. And they told me that I had to get a hold of City Hall. And that's when City Hall told me that I had to fill out an application to apply to live at this address. So it was completely new to me. I knew absolutely nothing about it when I first moved in. When I went to City Hall, I told them that I was staying here. I gave them my address. They didn't tell me that it was a problem. They didn't say I had to move and then come back after I got approved. They didn't say that I was going to get put into custody for violation or anything like that. I was actually at City Hall earlier today, because I misplaced my paperwork and needed the phone number for the Zoom phone call. But from my understanding is that the city has been known. I've been living at this address for about a month now, and like I said, they didn't say I had to move. They didn't say I had to. There wasn't anything specific. So I mean, I'm here.
Okay. All right. So this is the first time you are appearing before the board. So we need
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So we need to have you tell us what you were convicted of and how it came about.
And when, please?
Okay. So I was originally convicted of first-degree sexual assault of a child under the age of 13. And that was in 2005, I believe. I may have my dates wrong. It's been a really long time. And really horrible with dates. But yeah, I think it was like 2005. I think I was convicted. After hearing some of the other people speak, I know you guys go to CAP. And on CCAP, you're going to see my felony and then also 2 misdemeanors on there. And that's actually all one case. My trial, I did a, what was it called? Is what it was. So they dropped because I'm pretty sure I played no contest. And so they dropped the felony, and they turned it into 2 misdemeanors, and they gave me 2 years probation. And if I completed my 2 years probation, then that's all that would be on the record. But if I didn't complete my 2 years probation, not only would I get charged for the misdemeanors, but they would raise the felony and charge me with that as well. So that's the reason why you see a felony and 2 misdemeanors on there, but it's all encompassed in just one case.
So it looks like the first offense was the first-degree sexual assault of a child, and then it looks like you had a deferred prosecution agreement, and
That's what it is,
yeah, you must have violated something within that prosecution agreement for them to go ahead and recharge your case.
The deferred prosecution agreement, yes, the deferred prosecution agreement was I had to write a letter to the DA. I think it was like every 3 months, I think, and pretty much tell them, yeah, I'm on probation, what I was doing, what treatments that I was taking, and stuff like that. And when I revoked myself off of misdemeanor paper, because I didn't want to be in paper no more. And so I signed saying that I revoked myself. And when I went into court, my lawyer said that I may have violated I revoked myself off of misdemeanor paper, but he fought for the fact that I still have my deferred prosecution agreement. And apparently the attorney's office pretty much said that the letter that I wrote was, because I think I only wrote it once while I was on misdemeanor paper, because I didn't last that long. And I don't exactly remember the specifics. Like I said, it was a really long time ago. But the judge denied the fact that I could still have, because of the fact that he said that he denied the deferred prosecution. So because of that, that's the reason why he raised the felony and charged me with that as well. I know it's really, really confusing, but like I said, I don't exactly know all the details because, like I said, it's been a really long time, so I really don't exactly remember all of it.
Okay. Does the board have questions regarding any of that?
Are you employed, Robert?
I am employed. Yes, I am employed to Cooper Ready. As of right now, I am working at Tower Pallets in Pier. I work Monday through Thursday. They're 10-hour days. So I have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. That job is temp to hire. So after I work there for 3 months, I have the opportunity to get hired out full time.
And are there any minor children living in the home that you're currently at?
Yes, there is. There is a friend of mine, her name is Crystal, and she has 2 kids. As of right now, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
It seems like you were probably about 18 when this offense happened. Can you describe
Yes, that's good.
the circumstances? Like,
the circumstances behind that, I was homeless. I didn't have a place to stay. I pretty much ran from home. I didn't want to be living with my parents anymore, so I moved in with a friend of mine. And I ended up meeting my victim through a friend of a friend. My victim's mother, she knew that I would have, so she was nice enough to let me stay in her home. And that is when the victimization occurred, and I was living with them. and they were living in Africa at the time.
Do you want to describe the victimization?
Oh, I'm sorry. I kissed her. I touched. I left pickies on her neck. And I'm not quite sure what else to say about that.
So you kissed her?
I don't know, for whatever.
You kissed her and you
Yeah.
touched her. Where did you touch her?
I touched her breast and then I touched her between the legs.
Okay. And did you penetrate her at all?
No. There was none of that.
Okay. And how did the police find out?
She ended up telling her mother, and then her mother ended up calling. I think when I got questioned by the police, it was my victim's a license officer from her school that did the interrogation.
Okay.
no. There were two was this a one time and were there other times?
No, there's only the one sex offense. Like I said, the way it's weird. It looks like I actually have 3 different offenses. but if you look at my court record and the full proceedings with that, you'll see, I just have one victim, and there was only just that, just the one victim. But like I said, the way they broke it down, with it being a deferred prosecution agreement and with it being a withheld sentence, that's how it ended up to be, or that's how they put it down as far as my records go.
And Captain Riggles, I'm gathering because this is another autogaming offense and quite old, you probably don't have access to that either.
Did not receive this one. I wish I did to be able to provide some more guidance on this particular one. I'm a little confused, but I do not have the criminal.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. All right, so Robert, you've been living in Green Bay for 1 month at your brother's house. Prior to that, did you say you were living out of state?
Yes, that's correct. I haven't been on probation or parole in almost, it feels like 7 years. I don't exactly, I can't give you a date as to when I completed my probation. But about a year after, a little less than that, after I completed my probation, I ended up moving to California. And then I was in California, and then Oregon, and then Washington, and then I came back here.
And what made you come back to Wisconsin?
Just bad. I was just in a real bad situation in Washington. I was homeless, living on the street. I didn't have work or anything like that. Problems arose with my sister. We just couldn't get along, and so I just ended up saying pretty much forget it. I'm gonna move back home, and that's what I did. And I called my mom and my mother. It's my brother's house. My other brother lives here, and my mom does. They were living here before I showed up, and so like I said, I got permission from my brother to stay here. And if the paperwork that I gave you. Excuse me, the paperwork that I gave you should have his name on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I got prior approval from them. Yeah, I got prior approval from them to live here. And like I said, not until I actually got here did I even hear about the ordinance in Green Bay and how it all works.
Okay.
In the home where you're staying, can you tell us who lives there?
As of right now, it is my two brothers, my mom, me, and my friend Crystal, and her two kids.
What ages are the kids?
Her youngest is 6 months, and oldest son is 6, I believe. Somewhere around there. I mean, she's here, she's here now, if she actually said that she would be willing to speak on my behalf, so, I mean, if you wanna talk to her and ask her whatever questions you want, I mean, unless you change your mind, I'm pretty sure she's, more than willing to answer whatever questions you have for her.
Well, maybe we'll ask her some questions momentarily, but does the board have any questions about his case and what he was convicted of?
I did not. It was 17, 18 years ago.
Yeah. All right. And Robert, if anybody wants to ask you any questions, reference treatment, do you want to do that in private session or public session?
Public session. Just fine, I don't.
Okay. And you don't really have anything listed for any kind of treatment. Had you obtained any kind of treatment?
Yes, I've actually had quite a few treatments, or quite a lot of treatment, in different areas. I know according to the application, it said that if you don't have any of the paperwork, to prove that you have had treatment, that the board is just gonna assume that you haven't done any treatment at all. And since I don't have any of that paperwork, because like I said, between all the going around and stuff like that, I don't have none of it anymore. It got lost or whatever it is, or I ended up throwing it away at one point in time, or something like that. But that's the reason why I didn't fill any of that stuff in, because like I said, I'd have to call on scholarship where I did my SOT and completed it. I would have to get a hold of RIAC and Racine where I did my ALDA. I would have to get a hold of Fox Lake where I completed my HSED. And I know I did, now I'm having a brain fart, I can't remember what it's called. I had another treatment too, but I'm getting my brains kind of scattered right now, as far as, what it's called, CJP, there you go. I also completed my TJP, I don't exactly remember what prison I was in when I did that. But I completed that as well. And like I said, I don't have any of that paperwork anymore. It's been so long, and between moving and stuff like that, I don't have any of it. So I would have to get a hold of all the prisons to have them mail it to me, if they even still have it. I don't know how long to keep documents for or anything like that, so.
Okay. I guess I want to kind of talk a little bit about your criminal history. So it looks like you had this offense in 2000. Then in 2009, it looks like you had a battery while you were in the Oshkosh prison. While you were out west, did you have any other offenses that you were convicted of out there?
No, I have not had any police contact involving any kind of criminal activity at all since I have gotten released from prison. If there was any police contact, it was either because I got pulled over for speeding or wasn't wearing a seatbelt, or there was an incident at the house and the police were involved. But it wasn't involving me. It was involving the incident at the house that I was at. But like I said, nothing criminal or anything like that. No new charges. No pending cases. Excuse me.
Okay. Does the board have any other questions they would like to ask? Or any discussion?
None.
Okay. Again, I typically do not approve people from out of county, in this case originated in Outagamie County. But I guess at this point, I mean, he's been living there for a month. He doesn't have any other criminal history listed on as a case, and it was quite some time ago. I really don't have a problem if he would continue to reside there. That's just my thought.
Agreed.
Okay. Robert, I know you said that maybe somebody wanted to speak on your behalf. Is that correct? Or you didn't have any speakers listed?
No, well, I mean, I didn't list any speakers, just because of the simple fact that I wasn't exactly quite sure, who to put on there. And after I filled out that application and handed it in, I ended up talking to her and she said what she wouldn't mind. So it was actually after the fact.
Does she want to speak now? Or?
Give me 1 second. No, so yeah, I would have to take you off of my Bluetooth for 1 second and put you on speaker on my phone. Is that okay? Okay, 1 second. Can you hear me?
Yep. please state your name and address for the record?
My name is Crystal Ryan. My last name is spelled R-E-I-N. My address is 130 South Webster Ave, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54301.
Okay. And how do you, Robert?
He is my best friend's brother.
Okay. And what do you have to say about Robert?
Since I've known her, 5-6 years now, I haven't seen any issues with him. He's been with my kids. He's really a kid. I think he's doing an overall good job with his progress so far. He's working. He's trying to maintain a place to stay, which he's staying with Mom right now, which I hope he plans on getting his own place. He does have a vehicle that needs to get fixed. But overall, I think he's doing really good, and he's turned into a pretty decent person.
And you know what he was convicted of?
Yes.
And you're okay with him being around your children?
Yes. He is not giving me any red flags or anything like that with my kids.
Okay. Board, does anyone have questions for her?
I do not.
None.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. I will give you back to Robert.
All right. Does the board have any other questions for Robert or any discussion they would like to have? Or should we, does anyone want to make a vote?
Move to approve, address specific.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Robert, you are approved to live at 130 South Webster. If you do decide to move from that address and continue to reside in Green Bay, you will need to come back before us.
That's not a problem. I'll do whatever I need to.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That's the last one that I have on our agenda, but I still see we have somebody by the name of Scott on the meeting notes. Do we know what that is, Deanna?
They wanted to speak regarding Michelle, so if you want to talk to them now, that would be fine.
Oh, do we need to if we've already approved her?
Already approved, yeah, no.
Well, she's only approved for 60 days right now.
Oh. Should we have done that while she was on the agenda?
Yes.
All right. Maybe could Scott, could I just address you for a moment, please? Scott?
I tried sending Scott some direct messages through the chat function, and he has not responded, so,
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's there.
Yeah, and I only saw her daughter listed as a speaker. I didn't see anybody else. So that's why I'd never addressed this man.
Scott, if you'd like to make comment, please unmute yourself.
He's unmuted now.
I just wanted to say, I don't think she should be allowed to move anywhere she feels like in the city of Green Bay.
Okay, before you speak, could you please state your full name and address for the record?
Scott Vanadestein, and I live at 2410 Hampton Avenue.
Is that Green Bay?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know Michelle?
No, I do not.
Okay.
But I just said I try to make as many of the city meetings as I can. And when I saw that she was applying to move and not giving an address, I'm like, why can she move and not give an address, you know, I myself would like to know where they are living.
I understand that. And if you've followed, you know, the minutes for many years, Michelle has appeared before us. I think it started back in 2005 or 2008. And every time she has requested to move, she has been approved to reside at the addresses that she had requested. Obviously, there are some concerns regarding her health at this moment, and the board discussed that in private session, and we felt at that moment that we would take care of her medical needs while she was allowed to search for a home to live in, but we want her to come back in 60 days to let us know if she did find a home. So this isn't a free-for-all where she can just ignore us and ignore the ordinance. She should report back to us.
I mean, the state does enough for that as it is. Put them wherever they want. And don't give about you guys.
I'm not really quite sure what you're referencing there.
The sex offenders, I've got one that moved into my backyard. And until up, and I talked to him, he did not even know he had to register with you guys to request to live there. And when I brought it up, he requested to move there, but he's already living there.
Okay.
And I mean, he's a very nice person. I like him. But he did not know, but the state told him he could move there.
And when you say the state, are you talking the Department of Corrections?
Correct.
I mean, okay. Typically, I believe the Department of Corrections does notify their clients that if they wish to reside in the city of Green Bay, we do have an ordinance. So I can't speak for that specific case that you're talking about, but I do believe that is the typical response from the Department of Corrections.
And the State Department of Corrections does place violent sex offenders, but that has its own set of notifications that go out and different levels of notification depending on the specific offenses. This board is for sex offenses committed against children. So, I mean, there's different kinds of sex offenders, and this board is designed to address one specific kind.
Does that answer your questions, Scott? You're still on mute. Do you have anything further you would like to talk about, Scott?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Well, hold on. We have to go to other business before we do that.
Sorry.
Okay, so the next order of business is that our next meeting is going to be scheduled for July 20th at 4 p.m. Is there any discussion that the board needs to have prior to that meeting?
I just want to let the board know that I am going to be on vacation the whole week before that. I will try to get as much of the agenda done before I go on vacation, but I will probably be posting it that Monday before the meeting. Just letting you know.
Sure, thank you. All right. Captain Roigels, thank you for your assistance this evening.
Happy to help. See everyone.
Yes, thank you.
So now we could get a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, everyone, we'll see you next month.
All right, thank
Okay.
you. Have a good night,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Take
Who
care.
seconded the motion to adjourn?
Pete. Oh, Faith, all right.
Okay, we'll put Faith.
It was both at the same time, pretty much.
Have a good day, everybody.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Good
You
night.
too, bye-bye.
Bye.